Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to create a custom color palette in order to quickly turn our sketches into complete colored ones like these or these. So the last tutorial I taught you guys how to paint something like this using the stacking skin palette, and today I'm actually going to show you how you can create your own palette from your favorite paintings. So let's say, for example, I want to have this is a painting that I've done recently to test out this color palette. So if there is a painting you like and you want to use the colors, you will quickly find that if you start picking colors from here and dropping them into your palette, you will start running out of space. Like you see, there's just simply not enough space to put in everything because everything has different value, chroma, and color. And we know that value is how dark or bright, color is what color it has, chroma is how gray or vibrant. So that's actually like 3 components to any swatch, and this actually proves the fact that any given painting will not be able to fit in a palette. So we need another method of coloring things quickly so that we can just test out concepts and color palettes, and then after that we can repaint them if we want to. So the quickest way to do that is to load your desired painting with your desired color palette into your Procreate space, create a layer beneath it, and then drop a gray into it. So you can pick a gray, drop into it. So now I have a gray, and your picture above, set it to color. So what is this thing? This is just chroma and color without value. Everything is this value. Okay, whatever gray you dropped in, if it was here, everything is gonna be in this value. Okay, so the reason why we do not need any value in our component for our swatches in our palette, because we'll be painting in stacking layers, right? Like in the past tutorial, we had a normal layer and then we stack multiply layers on top, which means we are painting shadows. So we only need color and chroma, and for the value we are stacking them as we go, so we don't need value at all. So essentially I can just pick this gray, create a new layer, add another layer, and start stacking it as long as I have multiply mode. But look at how dark it is. It's very hard to control because it's so dark. Like from the beginning it's so dark already, you know? So how do we control how dark everything is? If we want more control in our painting process and more layers to work with, like previously we did like about 4 or 5 layers, right? And our palette was this bright. Okay, so if we want that, we pick a brighter gray and drop it into the gray layer. So we can use this palette if we want to stack lighter colors. If you stack lighter colors, you get to paint with more layers, you have more control, and you get to experiment more, but you will take way longer, right? So pick a value that is beneficial for your practice. If your artwork is all very dark or you are very confident, go for a gray that is quite dark. But I would recommend that you pick somewhere here, like maybe 15%, just past white. So if I drop it in, you can see that it almost disappeared. I can barely see any color. Like this is purple and blue, but they are so close. If you find that you can't tell the colors apart, maybe change the gray a little bit. Let's say this is what you want to work with. So just make a new palette and then just pick colors and drop it in. And usually I'll drop it in based on their color properties, like from pink to yellow to gray to blue, and then to green to purple, and the whole shebang. Okay, so that was how I created this palette right here. Was done the same way, but I have other colors in this palette. So how do I have those palette? So where do I get those colors? If I turn this back to normal, I need to somehow get the lightest color, and I don't have that information for lightest and darkest. So it's simple. I just pick the lightest color, I drop it in, I pick the darkest color and I drop it in. I pick some key colors that I think is very essential and I drop it into the bottom of the palette. But whatever color that I'm working with that is necessary is all on top already. I don't really need any more than that. And the most important color is the one that is invisible to you. Which one is invisible? Okay, you can see this is unused, right? This is unused, 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 unused. But if you look carefully, this is actually used, 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 used. What do I mean by that? Look at my color here. This dark blue, right? If I tap here, you see I have a gray. I tap here, I have another gray. This is another gray. This is a purple. But this 4 is actually unused. If I tap here, it's gonna create a swatch here. So if it's really, really, really unused, it has like a slight thin border. I'm just gonna delete that. Okay. It has a slight thin border. Oh my god, I just added it in again. Okay. So these gray swatches are your most important swatches. Grays are always very important for you to connect colors together. Like if you want to connect yellow to purple, which is really opposite of each other, you're gonna have gray in the center for sure. So make sure you have your grays picked out, like in between blue and all these yellows. This is like a gray. Look, it's a gray, but it's a greenish type of gray. See, it's like in the blue section. It's not pure gray. Then this is a purple type of gray, and this one is a yellow type. Yeah, so your grays are going to be your saving grace, pun intended. Okay, so once you have your colors laid out, you can safely delete that gray layer and you can start to test out your color palette. So make sure your color palette is here. For the main sketch, I turned it into blue. I just picked this blue to turn the whole thing into blue so that I have something to work with, because I wanted a very, very blue portrait. Then after that, I have my first layer, which is in normal mode. Okay, and this first layer is actually done using the stacking skin palette the same way. Like I drop in a gray, I drop in this gray, and I start stacking colors like this. Then after that, for the first layer that I stack, these are all the colors that I use from this palette. You can see it's very illustrative and not very realistic, but it's very beautiful, the colors. And if the first layer that I use is so cold in colors, like so many blues and greens, usually the second layer that I stack has a lot more reds in order to balance it back up. And as usual, I'm not very concerned with details. Then I would stack more. I usually decide, like, do I want more blues this layer, or do I need to start stacking reds? Then I will start stacking my dark colors, because usually 3 layers of multiply mode is like the max. Any more than that is gonna get too dark. So then once I start getting in the dark colors, everything start to have more punch. And then I fill in all the missing colors with the last multiply mode. At this point, it's very simple. I just need to recolor everything and repaint everything from scratch. So it's just a matter of repainting. I repainted the ears, the lips, and then lastly I have my highlights. And then when I'm at this stage, I usually ask myself, like, is my eyes hurting when I'm looking at this? And I feel that the answer is yes, because color is too vibrant. So I would create a layer with the color blending mode and add gray into it. So this gray layer actually toned down a lot of vibrancy in certain areas. I maintain the vibrancy for all the reds. Everything else I toned down so that it don't punch me in the eye when I look at it. And that's all I did to just test out this color palette. Is very easy to do. Yeah. So try this out, create your own color palette, and I'll see you next time. Bye.